Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video, guys, and I'm getting pop-ups, man. I can't even record a video without a deal popping up in the beginning. Faction accessory. I used to call these in my head. You ever call something in your head and then it's wrong and then you just don't notice for a while? I called it in my head fashion accessory. I was like, I don't want your fashion accessory. It's very fashionable.
So today, I want to talk about the differences between being cheap and being stupid.
But either way, fashion or faction, they're really bad. Avoid these things. Avoid these things like the plague. Anyway, guys, today we're going to talk about...
What did I do to deserve that?
Oh, contender pack. What is this? 10, 5, 10. No, I'm not going to do it. Stop with this, Raid. All right, let me try this. Take 3 here. All right, today we're going to talk about the most difficult things to get in this game are legendary skill tomes, right? And epic skill tomes are hard to get as well. Not as difficult in the end game. Epics are, more plentiful to come by. But today's list is going to be combined. First time we've ever done this here on the channel. Exciting stuff, guys. We're going to combine epics and legendaries in 20 champions that you don't have to fully book. Now listen, guys, every champion on this list, with maybe a couple exceptions, are going to be better off if you waste your books on them, right? A lot of these champions they're all end game viable, right? So I'm skipping over the crap champions because, yeah, great, Ash. You don't have to book this crappy champion that you're still building, to 6 stars. Why would you even do that anyway? So today, all these champions I think are going to be really great options for you guys, even in the end game, and you can still get a lot of utility out of them without booking them. Listen, like I could sit here and pick the best champions in the game. Oh, guys, you don't have to totally book, I don't know, Siphi in order to get a lot of value out of her. But yeah, if you pull Siphi, you're gonna book her because she's that good. Same thing with, there's so many champions like this, right? I could really go on and on and on. Mashald, Nekret, I keep going back to Undead Horde and I keep wanting to go Duchess, right? Yeah, you don't have to book her, but you should book her because she's that good that it's worth investing in. Anyway, guys, disclaimers out of the way. I've rambled on for 2 minutes. We haven't even got to the video yet. I apologize, guys. I apologize, but it's too late to apologize. It's too late. Beep. All right, here we go, guys. It's going to be Vrask, number 1. So Vrask, man, basically... heals all allies by 10% of his max HP when he inflicts a critical hit. He could be hitting for nothing, like no damage. You don't even have to have, 100% crit rate, but everything else doesn't really matter about this champion. As long as he's hitting, he's healing based on his max HP. So as long as you have that 100% crit rate, nothing else matters in his kit at all. It's just based off his HP as long as he's inflicting that critical hit. So Vrask is an easy, no-brainer, don't have to book him. Don't have to book Vrask, guys. Great healer and no books required. Keeping with the epics here, let's go to the other obvious choices. A few super obvious ones in Doompriest, man. No books required. Now these champions, Vrask and Doompriest, you just don't even have to book them, right? I mean, extra damage on the A1. It is a hard-hitting A1 for a support champion. I'll give her that, but really, that's not the reason you're putting books. Well, there's no reason to put books into Doompriest, right? It's all about her passive. You're getting that heal and that cleanse regardless of any books in her or not in her. So yeah, save your save your 5 books, man. It's not much, but save them. No need at all to book out Doompriest, one of the best epic champions in the game, even without skill tomes. Number 3 is going to be, again, I'm going with all the obvious ones first, but it's Alure, right? Alure, man, I turn off her A2 and her A3. You don't have to. Some people just turn off her A3. Some people use all the abilities. But for Fire Knight, man, unless you need help against the waves, just turn off the A2 and the A3. A1, booking for extra damage. Who books for damage? You don't really need to do that. So 3 times... decreases target's turn meter by 25% on each critical hit. That is not changing. It's going to decrease that turn meter regardless of how many books you have in her. Save your skill tomes. You can even use Allure at level 50 with no books. She's a really incredible champion, not just because she's one of the best epics in the game because of that turn meter on the A1, but really you don't need to, invest a lot of resources into properly building her. Next one is kind of a newish guy. We're going back to Undead Hordes again here, and it's Vogoth. So Vogoth, now, Little disclaimer on Vogoth. You do have to book him if you want to get this provoke all the way up to a 75% chance, have it happening more frequently on a 3 instead of a 4-turn cooldown, but really, it's all about this passive, right? He has this champion, when he's attacked, he's healing all allies by 50% of the damage received, 25% against boss attacks. That's happening regardless, again, guys. And then on the passive, when attacked, places a leech debuff on the attacker for 2 turns. That's happening no matter what. These booking plus 30% chance, that goes up to a provoke. So if you're using Vogoth, you're just going to hammer away at the with the A1 anyway. You're not even going to be using the A2 against Clan Boss, and you're going to making sure you have that Giant Slayer Mastery on the A1, getting extra damage there, and you're always going to be keeping the Leech up, and this first Festering Dynamo, his first passive is going to be triggering no matter what. So Vogoth is a champion that, does better with books, obviously, but you don't have to book him, especially in Clan Boss, since you're not even worried about this A2 ability anyway. Next is going to be, this one is the only one. Actually, there's 2 champions that borderline, you can call them endgame. I stand by it, though, because I do use this guy a lot in the endgame, because you have to use him in the Lizardmen's secret room on Doom Tower Hard. Basilisk, man. This dude's the real deal, right? He has an AoE attack on his A1 with a 3-time multiplier. A 3-time multiplier on an A1 is really tremendous in this game, on an AoE A1 that is. Attacks all enemies, places an increased attack buff on the champion for 2 turns if the attack is critical. So you're going to get the increased attack no matter what. You're going to get the AoE no matter what. It's on a 0-turn cooldown because it's an A1 ability. His A2 is hard-hitting ability, but you don't need it on a 3-turn cooldown. That's it. It's a single target with a stun. It's really all about these AoEs, especially if you're using him as a Doom Tower wave killer or just using him as a heavy AoE nuker, which you can do with this very unique champion. Basilisk took me a while to fully appreciate what Basilisk can bring to the table in terms of just damage. You can also put him in a stun set and just shut off the A2. And he's AoEing on a hard-hitting AoE attack every single time with his A1. He also has a self-revival built into his kit. You can book that down, but still, it's nice to have either way. Hopefully, he's not dying all the time where you need to book this down. But either way, Basilisk is a great champion. Let me just cover the other champion that was kind of borderline endgame out of this entire list, and that is going to be Gala Longbraids. Now, I'm putting Gala in the endgame category because she really is tremendous inside the arena for the endgame. And you can open up with the sheer swagger. Basically, it has hard enough hitting multipliers to kill pretty much every enemy that you could possibly be targeting, provided they have debuffs on them. Attack one enemy 3 times. Each hit ignores 25% of the target's defense. Grants an extra turn if this champion has full HP after using this skill. So you can open up in the arena with this sheer swagger ability, grant that extra turn, and boom, go right into her hard-hitting A2, which cannot be booked down. You're just booking for extra damage. So again here, that is ignore 50% of target's defense when attacking under a shield buff. So you have another shield champion on the team. She also has a shield on her A1 as well. So Gala Longbraids, a champion for the arena that can be so viable in the end game arena. You can even see her in platinum tier arena, albeit very, infrequently, but hey, she's a good single target damage dealer because she can kill 2 people on her first turn, going into the A3 and then boom into the A2. All right, next up, we're just gonna do all the epics first, guys. Hope you guys don't mind. One of my favorites and still underrated epic champion because she's a daily login reward and people don't value what's given to them for free in this game and in life, ladies and gentlemen. The more you know. So here we go. It's 2 active abilities. Neurotic Bolt is her, or Necrotic Bolt, not neurotic there, Ash. You're neurotic. She's necrotic. On the A1, decrease target's max HP. It's happening either way. Why waste 4 books just for damage, right? On the A2, a 3-turn cooldown is what you're missing out if you don't book it. But the beauty of Dark Elhain is a lot of people utilize her against freeze enemies. Frost Spider, Ice Golem, Torment inside the arena, anybody who's applying freeze to your team, heck, even Ninja, because that's going to trigger her self buffs, increase crit damage, crit rate, and strengthen, removing the freeze from herself, and then boom, instantly triggering already her A2. So, it being on a 3-turn cooldown, if you're going against a freeze champion, a freeze boss, it's not that big of a deal because she's going to be going with this lethal winter passive going into more Death's Majesty. Anytime an ally is given a freeze debuff, she's auto-attacking with this strong, hard-hitting A2 ability anyway. So books make her better, sure, but not required on Dark Elhain. All right, next up is going to be, let's do another just arena only. There's a couple of these champions on the list today, guys, because I think it's worth pointing out, right? All of these champions, right? It depends on where and when you're using them, or what champions are on the team. Lists like this are really fun to do. I love videos like this, but a champion like Madame Serris, why do I have her on? First of all, she's a champion that you can't go wrong booking, right? Because on this A2 Trick and Treats ability, you can bring it down to a 3-turn and move it up to a 50% chance of stealing a random buff. However, her A3 is a very rare ability in the sense that is removing buffs from all enemies, is placing decreased attack and decreased defense for 2 turns, and you don't have to book it up to get to a 100% chance at landing it. You know, it's a 100% chance that you're going to be removing buffs, placing decreased attack and decreased defense. No books is going to improve your odds. You're already at 100%. So if you're using her in the arena, that's all you need, right? You need her to remove the buffs and set up your nuker with a decreased defense. And you don't need to book her out. Of course, if you're using her for PvE, and of course, just to, you know, make the second ability even better, if the fight goes longer inside the arena, sure, she's going to get better, but a lot of players out there just use Madame Serris unbooked, and that's totally fine. Just make sure you have enough accuracy to properly take advantage of the Midnight Ritual ability. All right, next up is going to be, is this the last? No, we have a lot of epics in today's video, guys. Hopefully that's a good thing. I don't know. We have Genbo the Dishonored, another arena specialist, but again, he comes in with a Sword Trance ability. Sure, you can book it down to a 4-turn cooldown, but usually, hopefully, if all things go right, you only need this to land 1 time, or you need this ability to be used 1 time in the battle. Increased crit rate, increased crit damage on himself, grants an extra turn. Go into the Heartless Blitz ability, a very hard-hitting A2 ability, 80% chance of decreasing the duration of all buffs by 1 turn, but seriously, you're not even concerned with that, because this ability, you know, provided you have enough crit damage, crit rate, you know, on this champion, it's going to be killing them anyway. And we have the increased crit rate, increased crit damage already built into his kit as well to help you out. So Heartless Blitz, you know, if he's doing his job, we don't care about decreasing the duration of all buffs in the arena at least, and we also don't care that it's on a 4-turn cooldown. Of course, he can get better for PvE content if you do book it down, but still for me, I mean, I'm very happy. This passive does not mean books as well. Immune to decreased attack, ignore unkillable, and, or while attacking, excuse me, under increased attack. So again, you can take full advantage of his kit, what he has to offer in the arena without even booking this champion. All right, now one more epic for you guys, and again, it is an arena specialist, and then we'll move on to more PvE stuff, and that is Skytouched Shaman. Skytouch is a great healer anywhere and everywhere inside the game, guys. PvE content and Frenzy in immunity set, I use her in immunity, even curing set, I see some people dabbling in with Skytouched Shaman. However, you don't need books in the arena. What makes her so amazing in the arena is putting her in immunity gear. She's going to be blocking this sphere from landing on herself, which is great. And then on the A2, she's going to come in with that immunity artifact set on against Hegemon, against Torment, against these debuffer teams that are landing those block cooldown skills or those freezes on your allies. She comes in, she has immunity, she comes in before they go, so you have to make her fastest on your team or after your speed booster, and then boom, block debuffs for 2 turns, revive on death for 2 turns, and that full cleanse. It's a great ability to have for the arena, especially, and it does not require books. And again, here, you get extra heals off her passive. Sure, it's handy in PvE, but it's not necessary. Really, the only value here in terms of booking her at all is getting this on a 4-turn cooldown if you're using her as a healer in PvE content, but not for the arena, not necessary for the arena. All right, legendary time, guys. Let's go with one of my faves, and I don't have this dude. As you can see, I'm only missing 2 Undead Horde champions, Harvest Jack and Crypt King Grawl. Crypt King Grawl, I wish I had him because books are not necessary on this dude. On his A1, you're just booking for extra damage. He already has the decrease attack, and he has a 100% chance of placing, or that freeze, decrease attack. And again, books won't make that any better. On his A2, an AoE HP burn, great. It's better if you book it, but really his A3, guys, it's attacking all enemies and is placing a freeze no matter what. It's already on a 4-turn cooldown. It's also extending the duration of HP burn debuffs by 3 turns, and this extension cannot be resisted. So a guaranteed freeze, a guaranteed 4-turn cooldown, you're not going to book it to be any better. And usually if you're using him in Spider, you're using him to CC the enemy team, prolong or extend the duration of HP burns, and again, that is not affected by books. You can definitely use this dude to after your HP burner goes, right? So put that freeze. If they're under HP burn, that freeze is going to land. So someone else, Mordecai or whatever, is putting that burn down, and then he's going ahead and he's extending that duration and landing the guaranteed freeze. So Crypt King Grawl is a great option. Next up is going to be the champion on every list of champions you don't need to book. It's going to be Hegemon. Sure, you can get an extra damage if it's a Nukemon that you're building out of his A2. No reason not to if you're a whale end game, or if you when you get around to it, if and when you have you find yourself sitting on a couple dozen extra legendary books, said no one ever, pretty much, even whales.
You know what? I am so sick of this.
But you can book them out for some extra damage. Also, you can increase the chance at placing the decreased speed to 50% here on his A1, which isn't bad to have, but really it's about landing that block active skills and going before everybody else does. Each of those abilities is unaffected by legendary books, so nothing wrong with using a Hegemon totally unbooked. Next is going to be Maulie Tankard, who's available now with life tokens. Any of you buy Maulie? I think she's a popular purchase, and I would consider doing so myself. She's fantastic in the arena. She's almost quintessential for faction wars as well. She's very fast with a ton of base defense. Her base stats are really tremendous. She has an AoE provoke guaranteed to land. Place a provoke debuff on all enemies for 1 turn, so you don't have to book it to be any better. And then we have a 50% chance to placing it for 2 turns instead of 1. Now, this ability is landing provoke no matter what, so especially in the arena, you're already landing the provoke. It's nice to have on a 3-turn cooldown, but it's not mandatory. And then the revive an ally, same thing, guys. Nice to have this on a 4-turn, but usually in the arena, you only have to use it 1 time. Her A1, sure, extra damage, whatever, who cares, right? Her passive, you can get this on a 1-turn cooldown, fills the turn meters of all allies by 15% when this champion is hit, 25 when she's hit against a boss. If you're using her for PvE, she's better booked, obviously, but PvP content in the arena, you'll be just fine. And truthfully, faction wars, she's better booked, but you should be a lot better if you're just pulling a Maulie and using her even unbooked, because you still have a 100% chance at placing that provoke either way on the A2, right? So next up is going to be another champion that I don't have. The only Dark Elf legendary that I don't have, it's Xavier. And Xavier on her A3 attacks all enemies. Enemies killed cannot be revived, and she's dealing damage from all poison debuffs on the target instantly. They'll deal half the damage, but really this is the speed runner's dream in Raid Shadow Legends, and it doesn't need books to take full advantage. Like the rest of the champions here, her other abilities can get better with books, but it's already a 3-turn cooldown. At least we're not, reducing the cooldown with this book here, or these books, excuse me, on the A2. But really not necessary to get the full damage, at least, well, minus a little bit of extra, right? But the full utility, I should say, out of this A3 ability. Next one is going to be one of my favorites, and you guys know this if you're a longtime viewer. It's Little Miss Annie. Little Miss Annie is actually popping up in PvE content in Doom Tower in the end game, guys. She is a Void legendary, so, she's hard to get. She's freaky AF looking. However, she doesn't really need books. She's better with books, of course, but this Playdate ability is on a 6-turn cooldown. You can book it up for more damage, but really this ability is killing pretty much anybody in the arena. and is doing a tremendous amount of damage against bosses, but so do all of her abilities. You can one-shot somebody in the arena, pretty much anybody in the arena, with this incredibly strong ability. You don't necessarily need it twice because you can go right back into her A2. Her A2 on a 4-turn cooldown can be booked down to a 2-turn, but again, it's usually just killing everybody the first time that you use it because her multipliers are very high. She hits very, very hard. And what's even better, and another reason that goes to, you don't have to book this champion, she has a very, very hard hitting A1, and it's hitting 3 times with the Giant Slayer Mastery. You're getting that Giant Slayer proc on top of it with the A3 3-time hitter. So all of her abilities are hitting very, very hard. You don't necessarily need to book her out for a little bit of extra damage and reducing cooldowns, especially if you're using her in the arena. And if you're using her in PvE content, which a lot of people are, mostly is taking advantage of her coming from the death, coming back from the death, coming back alive, and immediately counterattacking. Where is it? When revived, attacks the enemy that killed this champion. And there's no books that come into play with Toys Don't Die either that will attack with her A1. Again, 3 more hits from the A1. So, you know, I'm rambling here. Long story short, Little Miss Annie is tremendous champion either way, but you don't need to book her, especially on an ally attack team where you're really getting a lot of damage and utility out of the A1 and the Giant Slayer Mastery. All right, next up, man, I felt like I repeated the same thing 150 times. If I wasn't so lazy, maybe I would re-record that on Little Miss Annie. I'm like, let's go over her skills for a 10th time, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that, guys. Next up is going to be none other than Candraphon. I'm missing 3 here. Demon Spawn legendaries. Vassal, nobody has yet. Tyrant, man, he's a beast. I don't have him, though. Jealous of you guys who do, but I'm more jealous of Candraphon, man. I do have Fushan now at level 4. In case you missed that video, it was a lot of fun. Level 4 Fushan is kind of like my poor man's Candraphon in the arena. Candraphon is a very fun champion. You can get extra damage and book down his Butcher's Glee ability from a 4 to a 3-turn cooldown, but with his On the Hunt ability, he's placing Perfect Veil, increase attack, increase speed, increase crit damage on himself. That's already going to happen every 5 turns. You can't do anything. There's no extra cooldown or anything on this ability. And then his other passive is increasing his damage when he's under a Veil or Perfect Veil. You can read the rest if you want to, but in long story short, you're just getting this from a 4 to a 3. Ideally, you're killing everybody with this ability, kind of like Genbo the Dishonored, right? You don't really need it on a 3-turn cooldown. It's nice to have, but for the arena where this champion really shines, it's not mandatory, it's not necessary. This guy is an absolute beast with or without the books in him. Next up is going to be a new champion, guys, and it is a Skinwalker, and it's Leorius the Proud. I really like this guy, man. He has this awesome passive, doesn't need books, is already on a 4-turn, instantly places an unkillable buff on this champion for 1 turn before receiving a fatal hit, and damage increases as this champion's HP decreases, which is a really good ability. It makes him a monster even against bosses, especially with that unkillable, so he's staying alive with very little HP, ergo more damage. On his A3, it's a 4-turn cooldown no matter what. It's an 80% chance to True Fear, which is nice to have in the arena. However, you know, I don't think it's necessary to have 100% True Fear because this awesome roar is dealing so much damage that you're pretty much killing everybody in the arena, and elsewhere, still an 80% True Fear is nice to have. Again, gets a bit better with books, but it's not mandatory, and even on the A2, it's a 3-turn cooldown no matter what, and you're only booking for damage. That's it, really. And some people don't even use this ability because he's immune to stun, freeze, sleep, provoke, fear, and True Fear when the skill is not on cooldown. I love him in the arena because you can go against Torment teams, go right into them, not worry about having to have that Skytouched Shaman on your team because he's immune as long as the skill is on or not on cooldown. All right, next up is going to be, some people might be surprised that she's on the list. There's only 2 left on the list, guys, and it's Arbiter. What? What? Wow. Okay, Arbiter's great with or without books, but look at it, guys. Do we need to bring this to a 50% chance of placing a weekend on the A1? No. A lot of people don't even build their Arbiter with accuracy. Her A2 attacks all enemies. You can book it up to, sure, 100% chance of decreasing the duration of all enemy buffs by 1 turn. It's nice to have. If you are building with accuracy, it's good in the arena, but it's not quintessential. The big parts of her kit are the A3 and the A4. A3, increase attack on all allies for 2 turns, fills a turn meter with the heal. That is her speed boost ability. And then in the arena, she can come back in with her A4 that does not require her enemies, her allies, excuse me, not her enemies. That would be a sucky thing if she revived all her enemies. But her allies, even if they're not dead, you can still get the turn meter boost out of this A4 ability. Sure, again, having this revival on a 5-turn is great. Having this on a 3-turn is fantastic. But usually in the arena where she shines, the speed in arena battles by 30% makes her one of the best, if not the best speed lead in the game. I know not the fastest, but the overall best because of her turn meter support that she adds to the table and her increased attack. She is the ultimate setup for the arena, and that's where most players use her. If you're using her in PvE, of course, you do want to book this out, because getting more of what she does best is always a good thing. But especially if you're running short on legendary books, bide your time. It's okay, you can still run her in the arena just fine for a long time, and then wait till you have some extra legendary books lying around. As we said, who doesn't have some Lego books lying around from time to time? Last but not least, is gonna be a champion that used to be one of the worst in the game. By the way, honorable mention to Ethos. I just got this dude. You're booking up his damage, you're reducing the cooldowns, 3 cooldown levels, but you can get a lot out of this dude even if he's unbooked, but you can also get so much more if he is booked. So that was a tough one, kind of borderline for me. But I'm gonna end with a champion that used to suck, but now he's being used a lot in Doom Tower, and it's really this trample ability. Baron is all about trample and Sky Piercer. You open up the first wave going trample, attack one enemy, will attack all remaining enemies with any surplus damage if the target is killed. 10% chance to unlock Sky Piercer, right? So Sky Piercer, no books required. It's if you unlock it, you're killing everybody no matter what. That's an easy, activation, an easy ability that does not require books. And these, extra A2 and A3 abilities, really we're only using them to deal a lot of damage and to unlock or have a chance at unlocking Sky Piercer. You're running him for his attack in all battles at 33%, obviously can be used in Doom Tower, and to kill somebody with trample and get that insane surplus damage to AoE kill everybody else, which you can pull off if you have really good gear on him. So there we go, guys, 20 champions. You do not need books to take advantage of what they're bringing to the table for your team. Hopefully this is, giving you guys an idea or two. Let me know if you want to see 20 champions and kind of fuse the epic and legendary into the same video again, that you do need books. Books required to get the full utility out of these champions, or really even, full utility is not the right word, but just the necessary utility to justify building them. Do you want to see a follow-up? Let me know in the comments below, guys. Big shout out to GFUEL, my channel sponsor here, guys. They've been a great channel sponsor, so give them a little bit of love. You can take 30% off your entire order if you use my code in the description below, and then use code ASH at checkout. So there's a link, in the description below. Then use code ASH at checkout. You should get 30% off your entire order. Thank you for supporting my sponsor, guys. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for watching all the way till the end of the video. And as always, take care, guys.